Please join me in welcoming our next amazing guest, Shelly Horton. Shelly needs no introduction, but I'm going to give you one anyway. She is an accomplished TV presenter, producer, and founder of Shell Shocked Media Production Company. She is a media guru and a passionate advocate of better education on perimenopause and women's mental health. Please put your hands together for the amazing Shelly Horton. Girlfriend. Don't you look divine?
Colour? I got colour.
Woo! I love it. Wow, what a gorgeous, colourful dress. That is stunning. Well, Shelly, let's get straight into it.
Yeah.
Let's talk peri and your experience.
Okay, so look, this is the girlfriend hour, so I feel like I can be relaxed and tell you guys the truth. Perimenopause hit me when I was 46, and I had never even heard the word before.
Oh.
Not once.
Wow.
So I didn't know what it was. And unfortunately for me, I'm 49 now, but it hit me in 2020 with the pandemic.
Oh.
So of course, all of the symptoms I just said were COVID related. I'm like, I'm feeling really anxious, that'll be COVID. I'm feeling like I can't sleep, COVID. Feeling depressed, COVID. I'm getting hot flushes, I've put on COVID kilos. You know, like I could pretty much put it all down
To COVID.
And I think for me, it wasn't until, now I'm going to get a little bit graphic here.
Yeah, go for it. It's a girl for an hour.
It's a girl for an hour.
Oh, totally.
So I have a Marina, which is an IUD.
Yes.
I want to marry it. Like it's been the best thing in my life. So I had Armageddon-style periods my entire life. Had the Marina, and then I hadn't had a period for 13 years.
Wow.
Oh, they last 5 years, so I'd had a few.
Yes.
However, end of 2020, I didn't just get a period. I got a period that lasted 62 days. Yeah, right? Not fun.
No.
So that's when I went to the doctor. Like it took all of those symptoms, but it wasn't until I was bleeding like that I actually went to the doctor. Now, of course, because there was so much bleeding, they had to check me out for any of the nasties like cervical cancer, which we have to get checked out for anyway. But that's when the doctor said, I think you're perimenopausal. And I was like, perimeno what?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm far too fabulous for that. That's for old ladies. And that's when I found out that actually around early 40s, 45 is when peri hits. And then it can last up to 10 years. Then you have menopause, then you go on to postmenopause. And I was just like, why haven't I been told about this?
Absolutely.
So it really hit me for 6. And I think the worst thing for me was the depression, because I am very lucky that I've never had any mental health issues before. I mean, well, my first divorce, that was pretty bad.
Yeah.
But when you've got a reason for feeling sad, then that's okay. Also, because he was a jerk. But anyway.
We won't tell anyone.
Yeah, send him a copy of this. But I actually, it was one of those things where I saw a GP. The GP wasn't that great with it. And one of my best friends is Dr. Ginny Mansberg. Now, Dr. Jim, I'm on Channel 9 and Dr. Ginny's on Channel 7. We met when I was at Channel 7, but I have always said, look, you can't be my GP because I don't want you looking down there when we drink wine together, all right? And then finally...
Boundaries, girlfriend.
Boundaries. No. And then finally my husband, bless him, I do have a new husband and he's
not a jerk.
1,000 times.
Not a jerk.
Not a jerk. Not a jerk at all. 1,000 times better. He just said, hey, I think it's time for you to speak to Ginny. And so he came with me to the doctor's appointment. And Ginny was like, actually, you've got quite severe depression and we're going to have to put you on an HRT and an antidepressant. Now, I never judge anyone when it comes to their mental health. I judged myself, though.
Oh.
I was a mess. And then I ended up, because I had to come back for a couple of appointments, I had to get blood tests and all sorts of things done. And I came back for the actual script of the antidepressants and drove home with them sitting in the front seat of the car and cried the whole way home. And then the first lot of antidepressants didn't really work, so I kind of expected a quick fix. Doesn't work that way.
No.
So then I had to wean off those, then go on to another sort, and then they worked. And then I'm like, oh my God, I'm back. This is amazing. And I'm like, you got to tell everyone.
Shelly
Like,
2.0 is in the house.
yeah, right? And so all of this, it took nearly 9 months for me to get back to what I used to be. And I think that that's something that I really want to help other women with, because I shouldn't have had to have waited 9 months.
No.
That's a long time.
For the new Shelly to be born, literally 9 months, that's a long time. Why do you think that there's not enough information about this, that people are not talking about it enough?
Yeah.
What's going on?
We need more shows like this.
Yes.
we
yes.
need to
No,
go
we just
for an
need
hour.
this one to be everywhere.
Just this one, everywhere. I find that it's been a bit of a generational thing. So my mother doesn't discuss it with me. So when I finally, because actually I was writing a story for Nine Honey, and I was writing about my mental health and saying that I feel this stigma and I can't believe how ashamed I feel. And I said in the story, I feel so ashamed I haven't even told my mum and dad.
Oh.
And then my editor rang me and went, I'm not printing that until you tell them. Like, I'm like, oh yeah, probably should. Anyway, I was still at the very teary stage. So, the drugs hadn't kicked in. And I just knew I couldn't talk to mum about it without crying. So I sent her this long emotional text. And it was very much like, just so you know, Darren, that's my husband, has been really supportive. Dr. Jenny's looking after me. I'm seeing a counsellor. I'm on antidepressants. I'm doing HRT, but I have quite severe perimenopausal depression.
Jeez.
And poured it out, and her response, chin up. That was it. Chin up. Because her generation, you don't talk about that sort of thing.
Yeah, right.
You just soldier on.
Interesting.
So I kind of felt let down by the sisterhood. I felt that I have a lot of girlfriends who are younger than me, like 10 years younger than me, because I've moved around a lot with journalism. I certainly haven't had my school friends that I've stuck with.
Yeah.
And I think if I had my school friends, we'd be going through the same thing at the same time.
Same age.
But I felt like this was a bit of a secret women's business that just shouldn't be secret anymore.
Well, it won't be anymore, because now it's on the Girlfriend Hour and it's going around the world, people. So what about women's mental health? Where is the system actually letting middle-aged women down?
So this is actually huge, and it's actually quite shocking. So women aged between 45 and 54, which is, your perimenopausal years, is the highest rate of suicide in women.
Oh.
Now, you would think maybe postnatal depression or teenage girls. This is 3 times worse.
Wow.
So it's 1 in 3 women with perimenopause get either anxiety or depression, which can lead to those horrible thoughts. So what I have realised is we're not being taught about this in school. We are basically just trying to find out our own information. So that's when I decided to create a course with Dr. Jenny Mansberg called Don't Sweat It. And it's actually bringing the education into workplaces.
Okay.
Because the other thing is, this mental health issues isn't something that just happens at home.
Yes.
You're at work.
Correct.
So what we've done is we've created a course that basically addresses it, because I felt like I needed to be supported. When I was depressed and crying, I didn't want to go to work, and I love my work. So when a workaholic doesn't want to go to work, you know something's wrong. So we started doing study, because as you know, incredible shows like this don't happen without a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
This course has taken us a year to put together. We've done a lot of research. And the research we got out of the UK showed that women aged between 45 and 54 is the highest growing sector in the workplace. Yet 10% of that group quit their jobs because of their perimenopausal symptoms.
Oh.
So they quit, because what we're finding is it's that sandwich generation where you might have kids to look after, parents to look after, and you're sort of stuck in the middle. So what's the one thing that you can change? You can stop work. So 10% of women are quitting. Then the next stat was 14% opted to go part-time, and 8% actually actively didn't go for a promotion or asked for a demotion.
Oh.
So this is a workplace issue.
Absolutely.
So that's why Don't Sweat It has really worked on the mental health. And just, to be fair, we're not talking about any of the dry Sahara down there. That's a whole different story.
That's another show.
That's another show. I'll come back for that one. Yeah. I call mine the sandbox. But anyway. But this is just for workplaces. So we talk about the hot flushes, brain fog, and then the anxiety and depression, because we're finding the anxiety and depression really affects women's confidence as well. So this course gets everyone on the same page.
Yes.
The men, the women, the young, the old, everyone on the same page, because you can't operate in a vacuum.
Yes.
You can't basically thrive when you don't know what's going on with your body. And it will help everyone be a little bit more understanding. And we've had...
I love that.
And we've only just launched. So it is... I've never had children, but this feels like my baby.
Yes.
We are very much at the beginning of it, but we've had interest from big companies like Qantas and New South Wales Health and Medibank. So big companies interested. And a couple of the people who've done the course have just been like, thank you. We needed to spread the word about this. And I had one guy who was like the head of a law firm contacted me and just said, thank you. One, I had no idea my staff was going through this.
You wouldn't.
And two, my wife's in the middle of it. And I think you just saved our marriage.
Oh, love that. So, and Shelley, what does a menopause-friendly workplace actually look like?
So the first thing is education, because the fact that we have such it's sporadic information throughout, but it's also things like being in control of the aircon or having a desk fan. Like, it sounds so silly. But if I'm having a hot flush, if I've got a desk fan there, I feel better.
Yes.
If you are a workplace that has a uniform, making sure that you don't require women to wear stockings or hosiery.
Yes.
Like, that seems ridiculous in the year 2022.
Absolutely.
But flight attendants have to wear stockings. We've got a lot of law firms require their staff to wear stockings. A lot of high-end restaurants require their staff to wear stockings. If you start thinking about it, it's actually a uniform requirement for a lot of people.
That's so hot. I'm just making me sweat thinking about it.
Seriously, you have a hot flush when you've got stockings on, you might combust.
Absolutely.
That's one of those things.
Absolutely.
But then there's also bigger picture things where it is making it that you can talk to each other.
Yes.
Making it not have stigma or shame associated with it, acknowledging that not only is this a really tough period to get through, but it's not fatal. We are going to get through it. And then look out.
Yes.
Because seriously, that is going to be my time. And I think it might be Shelly .50.
Yeah, that's all right. I think I'm up to 50.0 as well.
Yeah. So, because that is when women really step into those leadership roles.
Yes, correct.
Mentors.
Correct.
They, they only have so many to give, and they just don't give them anymore at that age. So I think it's about women being helped through the difficult bits of peri and menopause. And here's one thing.
Yes.
Okay,
it's the one thing.
I do get a bee in my bonnet about this. So how long do you think menopause lasts?
Oh, I want to say 8 to 10 years.
Okay, 1 day. See, this is the thing. Perimenopause can last 5 to 10 years. Menopause is 1 day. It is the 1 day that you have been 12 months without a period, and then every day after that you're postmenopausal. So we're not even using the right terminology. So isn't that interesting? I was so shocked when I found that out. And I just think if we're not using the right terminology, how can we be moving forward?
Everyone that I know says, I've been in menopause for years. They're actually saying
it's postmenopause. I know, right? There's just needs to be more information.
Absolutely.
And this is the thing, perfect with the girlfriend hour, but women learn through talking.
Yes.
So therefore we need to have workplaces that are open, that you can discuss this.
Yes.
And the way I'm thinking about it is 10 years ago, Are You OK Day didn't exist.
Yes.
And mental health in the workplace was incredibly taboo.
So do we need a menopause or perimenopause day?
It's kind of like that.
Yeah.
But I just think it needs to be where everyone needs to be educated about it so that the stigma disappears.
How do we change the narrative though?
I want it to start being spoken about at school.
Yes.
We talk about periods, we talk about getting pregnant, and then it kind of stops.
Yes.
And I think that's where you have that idea that it's just for,
Old
grey
people.
old ladies clutching their pearls.
Correct.
And I'm like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I am very grey, but I
No
died
pearls,
like
no.
this. Yeah, no pearls. So I think we need to start educating earlier, and then we need to have continued education as we progress through our careers. And also, I look forward to the time when it's actually not a huge need for education because the stigma's not there, and we've just been talking about it.
And you can walk up to a random person and see them sweating and go, are you actually have that conversation in public. Imagine how great that would be, that we didn't have to, quietly go, oh, let me just talk about it. Yeah. And do you also feel, Shelley, that we need to have the conversation with our partners, husbands, or there's education for men? Because even teenage boys not understanding it as well, but our husbands, our partners, I've been married over 30 years and he needs to be clued up on when I snap at him, there's a reason and what he can do about it apart from run to China or, move to Mexico. Like, it's okay.
Yeah, definitely.
So how do we help?
The studies haven't been done, but I can tell you hand on heart that going through that perimenopausal transition would be a huge factor in many, many marriage
breakdowns.
Now, the thing is, I'm lucky. My husband has been completely on board to the point where he's just like, he thinks he could sit a test on it. Like, he is very good. But also because he's a cameraman and editor, so he actually edited the entire course. So he's heard a lot about it. But I also think that, letting men know and just with saying to men, remember when you were about 15 and your hormones were going crazy and you couldn't control what was going on? That's us for 10 years.
Yes.
So
we do love you, but please bear with us.
Yeah, and also just know this too shall pass, so it's not permanent. And that we need support and we need help.
And if you do run off with a younger woman, guess what? You're going to go through it twice. You may as well stick with me.
Love it.
Oh my gosh, there's so many things I would love to chat with you about, honestly. But please give it up for Shelly Horton. Honestly, I could have you here all day. You've been amazing. We have a really fun section now called Time Out. So many people have been wanting to escape and travel over the last few years. So I'm going to ask you a few fun questions around travel. Okay. What is your favourite dish from anywhere in the world?
I'm going to say it was when I went to Egypt when I was 24 and thought I was bulletproof. Now I'm like, oh my God, what would I do? But I did it was called a camel dive safari. And they loaded the camels up with your scuba equipment, went out to a reef that you could not access by any other vehicle. And then we went scuba diving. And while we were scuba diving, the Bedouins made this incredible chicken dish with rice and beautiful hummus and things like that. And so we came back up and just ate with our hands. It was probably one of the most simple meals I've had, but there was just something, it was made with love.
Oh, sounds divine. Now I'm getting hungry. Where's the furthest you've ever travelled by yourself?
I'm a big traveller, so I've been to 52 countries. Yeah, I'm a big traveller. By myself, well, Egypt would probably be there. I went to Cuba by myself.
Oh,
yeah.
How was that?
To celebrate my first divorce. So here's the thing. At university, I did Spanish for about 6 months.
Okay.
So 15 years later, when I went to Cuba, I was like, I'll be fine, And I got there, and let's just say, days of the week and colours, not that helpful. So I had to do a lot of sign language, but I had a lot of fun. And I did a bus tour and I thought, I'll just make friends with people on the bus.
Yeah, totally.
The bus was full of Spanish-speaking people and 2 Aussies, and I was 33. I turned 33 in Cuba, and the other 2 women were 2 Aussies who were researchers from the University of Sydney, and they were in their late 50s, and I loved them, and I had so much fun with them. So, yeah, that was a big adventure.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah.
And if I was to go through your playlist, what's some songs I'd find on there?
Playlist. So here, oh God, this is a bit of a confession.
Yeah.
I'm not very good with music.
Okay.
So my husband was a sound engineer and traveled the world with bands.
Oh, wow.
He's kind of off music as well because it feels like work for him. At the moment in my car, it's a very eclectic. So you're trying to talk travel playlist?
Playlist or anything. I mean, you travel down here, so.
Dolly Parton.
Dolly Parton.
Miley Cyrus, related.
Yes.
That's amazing. I'm obsessing over Elton John. So, stuff that's not
quite eclectic.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay. Shows me it actually explains her personality, doesn't it? It makes
exactly
total sense, girlfriend. What's the best Instagram photo you've ever taken on vacation?
In the Bahamas.
Yes.
With my husband, and we went to an island that had wild pigs that could swim. Yeah, I'm going to have to get you the photo to show you.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I was told pigs can't fly, but they can't swim as well.
So there
goes all my belief systems.
The locals had this island and they were keeping the pigs there to raise them because they didn't need fencing or anything. But the fishermen would go past and they'd throw scraps out. So the pigs learned to swim to come out and get the scraps. And so it's very Instagrammable because when else are you going to have pigs in the sea?
Swim.
I know.
Absolutely.
But I was actually quite terrified because they weren't small. They weren't piglets. They were like
big
400
wanky
kilo
pigs
with like massive teeth and then the other
I need the photo.
Yeah, I'll get you the photo because the other thing is they fed them sausages, which is kind of feeding them themselves.
Oh.
Is that a bit wrong?
That is so
Yeah,
wrong.
that's a bit wrong. Oh,
So wrong. I wonder if the pig knew. Hello, Barney.
Yeah.
Haven't seen you for a while.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. What do you pack in your suitcase no matter where you are going?
At the moment, a fan.
A fan.
Yeah.
I get it.
I've got a great little disposable
Hey, these
one,
cards
so,
aren't just for notes, let me tell you.
Yeah. So I've got a fan. And then I would say always sunglasses.
Yes, yes. And if you could swim with dolphins or sharks, which one would you?
Sharks, done it.
Done it.
Done it in Bahamas as well.
Scary?
Yeah, I squealed like a little girl. Like I had the snorkel on. I haven't ever been with like the big scary sharks. These were like what are they, like reef sharks?
Yes, okay.
And
they can just eat your feet, but not your whole body. Yeah, okay.
I could touch them, and I've swum with dolphins, and they feel like a peeled boiled egg would be the way I describe it. Like it's so
Smooth,
soft and beautiful. Sharks feel like sandpaper.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Ew.
But I kind of loved it.
Oh, okay.
I'd probably like to do a cage dive. Yeah. Oh.
All right, we need to get you back on. We need to get you back on after if you make it.
If I make it, yeah.
Best hotel you've ever stayed in ever?
Oh, okay. So I was so lucky. I got to go to Hooker Lodge in New Zealand as a secret reviewer for a company called Mr. and Mrs. Smith. So the hotel was not allowed to know that I was reviewing, so it had to be a true review.
Yes.
But I didn't have to pay for it. So that was exciting there. And I took my best gay Dave because I was between husbands. And he and we found out it's where like George Clooney goes there and the Queen had been there. Barbara Streisand had been there. Like it is next level. And we arrived and it was honestly like every hedge had been photoshopped into perfection. We had the most incredible room and incredible food. And then I had hurt my neck, travel neck. And I was like, oh, my neck's playing up a bit. And so they were like, that's okay, Ms. Horton. We actually have a physio. He actually treats the All Blacks. We'll come in, and he manipulated my neck. And then I got back to my room and there was a little bottle of Tiger Balm sitting there. Thank you very much.
Now, who thinks we need to film the girlfriend out there? Yes.
Definitely.
My gosh. And final question. Are you one of these people that braid the hair when you're in the country where it's cool to do?
No. Yeah. No.
That's it. No. Just no.
Mainly because, as I said, I'm very grey. It would just be grey roots and cornrows. It wouldn't look cool. It would be terrible.
Let's give it up for the amazing Shelly Horton. Thank you so much for being on the show. What an amazing woman.
Are you loving the Girlfriend Hour so far? We hope you've been inspired by the wonderful women you've seen sharing their stories. Do you have an inspiring story of your own to share? We're looking for magic just like yours. Be featured in Feminescence magazine and start your own exciting media journey. Join many other fabulous women who've been profiled in Feminescence magazine. Unlock access to an international audience, propel your career, and expand your network. Make today the day you back yourself. What are you waiting for? Visit feminescence.com.au to find out more.